God says, "Listen, this dispatch is solely for you." Archangel Michael positions at the edge of your core with a horn of compassion and a palm firm as a beacon. He is summoning you at this hour. A positive update is approaching, but you must access this with all within you. There are merely 5 minutes on the timer for the initial glow of this wonder to reach you. In these 5 hallowed minutes, embrace what the divine has readied. Do not glance over. Do not pass by. Inhale alongside me now and unlock your essence, my child. God perceives the tininess in your uncertainty and the vastness in your anticipation. He perceives the pleas you murmured into cushions at midnight, the soft requests you nestled below your breast when the realm seemed like a prolonged, chilly passage. He detects the constant beat of your yearning. Archangel Michael delivers positive tidings that will start to reshape how you inhale. If this message calls to your soul, comment, "I trust you" below to welcome heaven's mercy. This is not a murmur of illusory optimism. This is a vow being released. In 5 minutes, your identity will be announced in a manner that prompts your essence to affirm in acknowledgement. Yes, this belongs to me. Rely that the schedule is ideal even when your thoughts claim differently. Do not dread the abruptness of this dispatch. God is never hasty in harshness. He is abrupt in kindness. Anticipate entrances to loosen softly, not crash fiercely. Anticipate individuals to utter your identity with warmth where they were formerly mute. Anticipate an unforeseen aid of support, a prospect, a ring, a document, a yes, a modest packet, a delayed correspondence, or a calm company by your side that renders everything feel less burdensome. These are the manners divine commences, modest, gentle, persistent. Comment 1111 below to affirm your readiness for this turning. Archangel Michael states, "You will shed droplets not from grief, but from the load being elevated. Those droplets are sacred. Permit them to arrive. Permit them to purify. Permit them to rinse the arid, thirsty spots in your core where dread has been resting. When you weep, it is because radiance is penetrating through fissures that were long closed. Do not suppress those droplets. They are the seasoning that softens the ground so fresh kernels can embed. Right now, in these 5 minutes, expel your lacks, funds anxieties, affection anxieties, vitality anxieties, standing anxieties, the persistent faint current of concern that buzzes beneath your phrases. Utter them to God directly. Convey to Him the portions you are ashamed to confess. He already comprehends, but voicing them invites the divine to advance. Archangel Michael rests his palm on his torso and murmurs, "Deliver them. I will bear what you cannot. Place them into his grasp. He is robust enough. Heed me distinctly." This positive update does not signify your whole existence will reorganize in a lone moment, but a pivot has commenced that will not halt until drive propels you beyond what you envision currently. There will be indicators. Some will be subdued. A vision that recurs with sharpness. A term captured in your hearing. An aged ally contacting with the precise phrases you required. Some will be tangible. An entrance parting at employment. A charge settled and session approved. A record freed, a mending. Each indicator is a morsel directing you toward the completeness of what God is nurturing. You are being welcomed to a stance, receptive reliance. Clench your grasps and nothing fresh can penetrate. Unclench and permit favor to glide through. This stance is not idle. It is valiant. It is positioning before the unfamiliar with palms receptive and stating, I possess nothing, but I rely on you. Archangel Michael is at your side, reminding you the boldest deed you will perform today is to hold faith. If a recollection emerges of setback, of disgrace, of being ignored, do not permit it to converse beyond a phrase, a lone phrase to the history. Then hush, then heed. God will revise your narrative in manners that respect your injured spots and convert them into spots of radiance. Where you were formerly disgraced, you will discover comprehension. Where you were formerly tiny, God will position validation. He excels in unfeasible revisions, rephrasing conclusions that mortals penned far too soon. Comment 333 below to unclench your hands for grace. You might ponder why the haste, why 5 minutes? The reality is occasionally divine, hastens a dispatch to shatter a bond that would differently restrain you. The pressing need is not chastisement. It is deliverance. Envision a locomotive departing the station. Just 1 additional minute and you are on board. This 5-minute summons is that the ultimate soft prompt to enter the compartment of your fresh era. Archangel Michael draws near and states, do not overlook this locomotive because of uncertainty. Embrace this tangible guidance from the messenger. Perform 1 modest, distinct stride today. It may be a ring, a note, a plea voiced, an entrance you rap on, and regret you extend. Yes, you venture to state the stride need not be immense. It needs to be steadfast. Steadfast strides gather like rocks until they construct a span. God will position the remainder of the rocks. Your valor positions the initial. If isolation constricts around you like mist, recognize that you are not solitary. Archangel Michael is an aura that senses like warm plating around your torso, a watchman that crushes dread beneath his soul. He is with you when you cannot utter. He will position guard over your slumber in the evening when glooms replay aged concerns. Inhale his identity. Summon Michael and envision the golden glow of safeguard encircling you. It will alter the nature of your repose. Love is being mended in concealment. If your core has been splintered by someone you relied on, if phrases were voiced that sliced like shards, God is already assembling the fragments. He will not compel mending where falsehood lingers, but he will create area for equity, purification, and fresh onsets. Occasionally, equity signifies fact unveiled. Other instances, it signifies liberty to depart. Both are sacred. Archangel Michael vows to position with you as the fact develops. For those fretting over resources, the provision you require may arrive in manners you did not foresee. A fresh notion, a prompt link, an adjustment to a misdirected charge, a neglected origin reverting. Graces do not always arrive in heaps. Frequently, they arrive in alterations, an unforeseen sequence unlocked, an entrance ajar. Prepare to embrace modestly but appreciatively. Modest gaps broaden when encountered with gratefulness. If you are inclined to critique the grace because it's insufficient, recall God amplifies what is presented with a thankful core. Comment 777 below to celebrate small signs. For those uneasy about bonds, be tolerant with the procedure, but prompt in warmth. Modest deeds of gentleness, a note, a heeding ear, and sincere term voiced softly can become the seams that repair what was ripped. Do not mix haste with profoundness. Profoundness requires duration, but expands rapidly when nourished by candor. Archangel Michael welcomes you to voice fact with warmth and to defend your core with insight. If dread of dismissal has kept you mute, regard this the instant to loosen. The matter you dread voicing frequently holds the matter you require to voice most. Exposure is not frailty here. It is the dialect of valor that parts entrances to bond. If the reply is not what you desired, permit it to be a rerouting, not a judgment. God will dispatch you toward individuals who honor your fact. Vitality concerns. Permit plea to pair with modest deeds of attention. Heed to your form as if it were an ally. Repose when it requests. Consult a healer if you must, but also voice vitality into yourselves. State, by God's favor, I am being renewed. Phrases are not a remedy solely, but they are a potent partner to remedy and attention. Archangel Michael oversees the portions of your form that sense delicate and bears them before God in constant fearless plea. Do not be astonished if after this instant you sense lighter, as if a load you bore has been elevated by unseen palms. That is the initial stage of liberation. The subsequent stage will deliver proof. Modest verifications that this was not fancy. Maintain a record in the forthcoming days and jot verification as it arrives. Proof fastens optimism to actuality and instructs your core to identify God's imprints. Recall, positive tidings occasionally arrive clad in untimely convenience. You may be preparing, tidying, operating, or attempting to slumber when the alteration commences. That's acceptable. God does not await flawless states. He encounters you in disorder, in routine, in garment stacks. Archangel Michael states, be prepared to embrace in the ordinary. The wonder will locate your palms occupied, because that is where they can be utilized. Permit me to address directly about dread of forfeiting command. When all around you appears to require tactic and tension, liberate the delusion that you must oversee every result. You can manage capably and still yield the outcomes. Management plus yielding is the stance God values. Labor with superiority, repose with reliance. This bond delivers serenity. If you have been bearing remorse that informs you you are undeserving of positive tidings, heed this. Deserving is not gained by deed, it is bestowed by favor. The notion that you must be flawless to embrace grace is a falsehood that maintains individuals destitute. Except you are selected, you are perceived, you are cherished. Comment 444 below to plant seeds of thanks. Archangel Michael's blade is not for felling you down. It is for severing bonds that restrain you to aged falsehoods about yourself. In the hush after these phrases, implore this modest plea. Lord, I embrace. Unlock my palms. Render me prepared. Recite it as frequently as your inhalation. Permit it to be your mooring phrase. State it even when you do not sense belief. Voicing it is indeed of belief. Archangel Michael will bear that plea into spots you cannot attain. Do not mix abrupt delight with an indicator to flee. Permit delight to embed you in gratefulness, and then advance steadily in the manners that ensue. Gratitude broadens the roots of grace. Tally the modest kindnesses, and you will shortly tally the grand ones. There will be instants of examination that ensue this positive tidings. Modest irritations, postponements, miscommunications. These are not annulments, they are purifications. God employs abrasion to polish gold. When hurdles arrive, name them and then transfer them over. State, "This is too vast for me. God, take it and intend it. Transfer it to Michael if you must. He will bear it into the aura of God." In this era, defend your core from chatter and contrast. The foe attempts to submerge wonders in the clamor of what if, and they performed. Rather, maintain your hearings attuned to the tone that summons you. By identity, contrast pilfers delight and postpones purpose. Contrasting is what maintains you tiny. Gratitude expands you vast. If you have been awaiting an identity, a figure, a mark, a note, a session, anticipate it within an era. Eras alter. What sensed frozen will melt. This dispatch is the initial mild zephyr. Observe how modest verifications commence to coordinate. They will not all arrive simultaneously. They will arrive in a gracious order crafted for firmness, not jolt. Archangel Michael requests you to be valiant enough to honor modest breezes. Toss streamers for the minuscule matters, the ring you obtained, the charge that was alleviated, the beam that reverted. Each modest honor is enshrined. It welcomes more grace. Permit me to address those who have sensed forsaken by belief. If your pleas sensed like they dissolved into hush, this is your welcome to voice anew. Voice like an offspring to a parent who adores relentlessly. God is not irate at your uncertainty. He is tolerant with it. Archangel Michael positions prepared to render your faltering into bold phrases in the divine spheres. Tangible stride. In the next 5 minutes, state vocally 3 matters. I embrace. I am prepared. Thank you. Permit those phrases to rinse over you. Then inhale gradually 5 instances. Sense your form reply. You have accomplished more than you perceive. God is not presenting you a brief respite. He is parting a passage to an era of renewal. It will demand your involvement. Modest options made steadfastly. Maintain your core yielding. Maintain your palms receptive. Maintain your souls inclined to stride when the route seems slim. Comment I receive below to anchor in thankfulness if dread murmurs. What if this dims reply with deed? Gratitude is deed, plea is deed. One modest, steadfast stride is the remedy to the dread that desires to persuade you nothing will endure. Embed a kernel of thanks. Nourish it with ongoing compliance. Do not permit disgrace to maintain you from embracing. Disgrace is a pilferer. It falsifies about the profoundness of clemency. Deliver disgrace into radiance. Name it, admit it, position it down. God will envelop it with pardon and then employ the precise matter that injured you as a spot for purifying others. Your marks become guides. If you are a guardian perusing this and you fret for your offspring's tomorrow, repose in this. God perceives the subsequent generation. His attention extends far beyond what you can perform. Implore boldly for their safeguard and for parted entrances. Observe how provision encounters both you and your offspring's requirements in unforeseen manners. If resources, bonds, vitality, vocation, any of these are burdensome on your torso, seek for one distinct indicator that God is advancing. An indicator does not have to be loud. It can be a repeated figure, an unforeseen mending, a note, a pass, an electronic mail. Maintain your sights on the design. Verification will arrive. Archangel Michael finalizes with a firm tone. This is a positive tidings era for you. It might be modest at first, but it will be certain. Do not exchange the onset for a false vow of haste. Remain compliant to the modest, valiant duties God assigns you. They construct the route for the wonder. Now, in these concluding instants of this dispatch, inhale profoundly. Position your palm on your torso if you can. Sense the ascent and descent. State, I am prepared to embrace. Maintain that purpose like a taper, luminous and modest. Your 5 minutes is nearly finished, but recall, the instant your sights unlock to this dispatch, the current already commenced to alter. God says, advance ahead with valor. Archangel Michael positions with you, horn quiet for the instant, blade sheathed in kindness. Graces are coordinating. Unlock your palms, embrace, offer thanks, advance ahead. If you desire me to persist with more phrases of uplift, plea, and distinct affirmations customized to your state, a plea you can replicate and retain. Prophetic affirmations to voice vocally each dawn, or a directed envisioning with Michael. Archangel Michael is positioning near to you now. Sense the mildness of his aura like a firm palm on your side, tranquil, certain, unyielding. God's tone is not a thunderous boom, but a mild, pressing murmur woven through that aura. Vital alert, a positive update is approaching for you. 5 minutes linger before an entrance alters. If you depart this, if you stride away or dismiss the soft persistence in your torso, you will not solely overlook what is arriving. You will sense the calm pang of what might have been. Access this within your core. Inhale, embrace, heed. The divine spheres are not remote tonight. They incline in. In the modest hours of your existence, the spots others do not observe. Something gentle but potent is advancing on your account. It may arrive in a manner you did not foresee. A note, a session, an alteration of core, a modest record that bears a vast fact. It is positive tidings, but it is clad in pressing need because schedule counts, not because God is restless, but because the mortal realm operates on delicate pains. Entrances seal when we presume they will remain parted eternally. Entrances part when we reply. Even if the reply senses like a murmur, so reply now. You may be bearing concern like an aged garment, burdensome, acquainted, creased into the form of your days. Tonight, that garment is being alleviated from your sides. Not all simultaneously, but sufficient that you will observe your stance alter. You will position taller. Your thoughts will loosen. The initial portion of this positive tidings is liberty. Liberty from a load you have borne solitary. Liberty from an uneasy cycle replaying aged dreads. Comment Amen to breakthrough below to step into your new season. God says, I have not overlooked you. Archangel Michael states, I accompany you. Prepare to liberate. The positive tidings might arrive clad as mending. Someone you adore, perhaps someone you dreaded had averted, is softening. A tone you anticipated to be severe will be mild. A ring that you dreaded will deliver mirth. This is not enchantment, but kindness operating through mortal cores. Unlock your device, unlock your entrance, Unlock the calm spot inside you where pardon can expand. If you seal yourself off in those 5 minutes, you endanger overlooking the initial stride of a fresh onset. Or the positive tidings may arrive as provision, a modest wonder that coordinates the tangible with the sacred. Funds emerge where it was missing. A prospect parts where every route seemed obstructed. A palm extends just promptly. Do not await to critique whether it is vast enough. God assesses from a distinct measure. What appears modest to the realm may be vast enough to alter all you cherish. When graces arrive in gentle bundles, embrace them with thanksgiving, not doubt. The habit of disbelief can seal entrances quicker than destitution ever could. There is also a note about essence, about who you truly are when the clamor diminishes. God says you are perceived, you are comprehended, you are cherished with the sort of warmth that outlines the creases on your forehead and summons you lovely. Anyway, if you have passed evenings inquiring, am I sufficient? Heed this. You are more than sufficient. The tags the realm extended, you were not penned by the one who crafted your core. Archangel Michael states, "Position firm. You will identify this fact not by an abrupt gleam, but by a calm conviction that settles like radiance in your frame. Embrace it. If this whisper stirs your hope, comment, 'I trust you' below to align with heaven's tide. Permit it to alter how you proceed. If dread attempts to converse, do not permit it to govern the moment. Dread frequently offers vows it cannot fulfill. Postpone until afterward. Safeguard yourself by remaining concealed. You must oversee every result. Those are aged tones. They possess a dialect of lack. God's dialect is plenty of essence, firm valor, and a calm welcome to enter what has been readied. If you sense immobilized, position a palm over your core and state, "I embrace." Permit the beat of your inhalation to sync with a vow. God accompanies me. I am being directed. Perhaps the positive tidings will arrive through someone you scarcely anticipated, a unfamiliar with mild sights, a coworker who recalls your identity, a neighbor who bears an unforeseen gentleness. God frequently employs common carriers. Pay heed to modest prompts. An electronic mail you nearly erased, a text you passed by, a figure you positioned beside in quiet. These are the spots messengers frequently leave memos. Practice observing. There may be an element of liberation this evening. You have clung to matters because you were informed they shaped you. Designations, prior injuries, others' views. God is seeking you to position down the most burdensome of these loads, not for desertion, but for renewal. Liberate what constricts your essence. Liberate every contrast that murmurs you are lesser. Discharge the remorse you replay. When you yield these, you generate area for what God aims to embed in your existence, kernels of purpose that demand rich ground. Let's address your bonds. If you have been awaiting mending, a gentle stride will arrive. A note, an olive extension, an unforeseen regret, or a admission will clear a route ahead. Guard against arrogance that desires to tally points. Arrogance imprisons the core and converts spans into barriers. Modesty parts conduits for favor to stream. If you are the one requiring to voice, seek for valor. If you are the one awaiting, ready to embrace. Archangel Michael positions at both portals, steering each stride toward fact attired in warmth. If your existence has been subdued because you deemed you were unqualified, recognize this. Qualifications alter with steadfastness. God does not always summon the already flawless. He summons the inclined. The instruments you require will be bestowed as you require them. Rely on the gradual, steadfast provision of ability, favor, and prospect. Do not position on the brink of your existence awaiting flawless preparedness. Stride into what you can perform now, and the remainder will be unveiled. A tangible term. Examine what you have disregarded. A note in your inbox, a correspondence, an overlooked ring. These modest matters occasionally hold the instruments to major portals. Archangel Michael states, "Do not dismiss modest indicators. They are frequently the initial pages of a larger narrative. Unlock what you have left unopened. Peruse what? Comment 1111 below to notice heaven's nudges. Archangel Michael addresses now. Heed with all within you, because this is solely for you. Seal your sights for an instant and permit the realm to contract until the sole matter remaining is the resonance of his tone and the mildness of a vow that will not depart you. There is a positive term arriving directly into your core, a fresh onset clad in kindness, and you possess precisely 5 minutes to incline in and embrace what the divine spheres are attempting to position into your palms. Do not pass by this. Do not linger. Your essence identifies fact when it attains you. Inhale, be calm, unlock. I perceive a mild radiance pressing at the edge of your existence, soft initially, then expanding, certain, then irrefutable. Archangel Michael states, "This is an era of purification. Matters that have burdened you are altering beneath your souls. Aged obligations, aged uncertainties, aged dreads that sensed like iron bonds are becoming powder. Not by mishap, not because of fortune, but because sacred equity and sacred kindness are operating together on your account. Something that you deemed would never alter is altering now. An entrance you had tallied sealed eternally is parting by a palm you cannot observe, but who comprehends you intimately. Archangel Michael desires you to heed this distinctly. You are selected for goodness. The realm has mistaken your quiet for frailty, your tolerance for inactivity. But there is a might in you that the divine spheres identify. A subdued effort of favor is advancing toward you. Favor that appears like an unforeseen note, an abrupt ring, a modest initial stride that will direct to a peak of advances. It will not all occur simultaneously, but a resolute matter will occur in the forthcoming days that affirms what your core has been imploring for. Rejoice now. Even prior to you observe the indicator, your rejoicing readies the ground for that kernel. Right now, a mild but firm adjustment is on its route. Some bonds that have been obscured with misunderstanding will commence to purify. A fact will emerge, not to disgrace, but to liberate you. The fact is an instrument. The fact will unlock serenity. If you have sensed uneasy at evening, if you have awakened to a burden you could not name, that burden is elevating. The messenger states you will slumber differently shortly. Repose will locate you. The nature of your repose will alter because a modest but vital shift has already commenced in the ethereal domain. If there has been postponement in your resources, a halted prospect or an entrance that would not part, heed this. Motion is approaching. It could be a charge you had nearly relinquished, a vocation proposal that arrives when you least anticipate it, or a kind palm that strides into your route and states, "I will assist." Ready your core to embrace with modesty and gratefulness. Practice stating thank you vocally today. Practice gratitude as though the matter you require is already on its route. Gratitude is a magnet for wonders. When you thank ahead, you sync yourself with the stream of grace. Archangel Michael states, "Do not be inclined to haggle with dread. Dread will attempt to haggle for your heed. It will murmur the aged narratives about why you are not deserving, why you will be disregarded again. But those murmurs are falsehoods. Replace them with fact. You are deserving. You are perceived. You are cherished." Comment 333 below to rejoice in advance. State that fact to yourself. State it vocally. When the foe of optimism delivers a recollection to render you doubt, reply with this modest declaration: "I belong to favor. I belong to grace. I will not dread." There is a particular figure who will portray a function in the forthcoming era, someone who appears common but will be exceptional for your existence. They will arrive with a calm aura and a tangible solution, not with dramatic addresses. Observe the modest gestures, a reverted ring, a note that states, "I recall," and welcome that appears casual but is deliberate. That figure could be a coworker, an aged ally, a neighbor, or a kin member you have not voiced to in a while. Maintain your core, yielding, but defend your serenity. The messenger states, "Examine the modest matters first." Essence discloses itself in the modest matters. Now, about a load you may have borne in concealment. Archangel Michael states, "The burden is not intended to be borne solitary any longer. There is someone, perhaps an advisor, perhaps a shrewd ally, perhaps a specialist who will position beside you and stride a segment of the route. Embrace aid. Arrogance will inform you to perform it solitary. Modesty will liberate you. When you permit another essence in, the load lightens and the route straightens. The divine spheres applaud your valor to embrace support. Heed this distinctly. A prolonged bewilderment will resolve. And reply you have been seeking about a bond, a vocation route, or a soul choice will arrive in a form you had not anticipated. It may arrive as lucidity in a vision, as an abrupt conviction in your core, or as a clear fragment of data dropped into your inbox. The messenger states, "Be prepared to respond resolutely when you observe the indicator. Hesitation will obscure the line between what could have been and what will be. Take one bold stride. You do not require to leap into all at once. One deliberate stride is sufficient to commence the shift." Archangel Michael positions his palm over the portions in you that have been quivering, your uncertainty, your remorse, your unfulfilled pleas. He states, "Pardon is being liberated for you. Pardon yourself initially. There are portions of your narrative you regret. The messenger is not minimizing those instants. Rather, he is stating that the route ahead requires lightness. Discharge the history with gratefulness for the teaching and permission to advance ahead. Pardon is not overlooking, it is liberating. State these phrases: "I pardon myself and stride ahead." Recite them until they become authentic inside you. There will be an instant shortly when you must select valor over ease. A modest welcome will arrive that appears hazardous, but bears more potential than the secure route. The messenger informs you. Select the route that extends your belief. The secure route maintains you in yesterday's footwear. The valiant route molds fresh souls for the voyage ahead. Rely that your strides are being supported. If resources are part of the concern, take tangible safeguards, but do not permit dread of lack to seal an entrance that will birth plenty. You may be pondering about a legacy, a summons, a purpose, something vast that senses both near and far. Archangel Michael states, "The kernels of your summoning are sprouting now. Modest deeds you have taken in concealment are being woven together into a tapestry. That modest gentleness, that calm discipline, that private plea, all of it counts. When the era of visibility arrives, you will not be astonished because you have been readying in hiddenness. Continue your daily customs, your modest practices of belief. They are the mortar that constructs purpose." Comment 777 below to declare your worth. A note about vitality. The messenger delivers mild assurance. If you or a cherished one have been contending, there is a altering current, not necessarily an instant remedy for all, but a motion toward firmness, toward superior days. Pay heed to the tangible strides the form requires. Repose, fluid, counsel, and when needed, specialist attention. Ethereal intervention advances alongside tangible insight. Do not disregard either. Honor the modest enhancements as indicators of renewal. Archangel Michael cautions. Beware of tones that seek you to injure yourself or others, or tones that endorse shortcuts through unlawful or harmful manners. Those are not the tone of the divine spheres. The divine sphere's tone will always direct you toward vitality, toward repair, toward dignity. If a proposal scents like deceit, if it seeks you to compromise your integrity, state no. Your tomorrow is brighter when constructed on fact. There is a vow for your abode and kin. The messenger states protection is being fortified around your household. Invisible barriers are established, and the serenity within your barriers will deepen. If you have been uneasy about someone's options, rely that sacred influence is at labor. Perform your portion with warmth and shrewd limits, and then permit the ethereal watchmen to perform their portion. State this plea over your cherished ones. Envelop them, defend them, direct them. State it with belief, not dread. Archangel Michael delivers a term about schedule. Some matters will advance promptly. Some will require eras. Do not presume that a postponement signifies a refusal. The rain that arrives tardy still replenishes the ground. Learn tolerance without inactivity. Be active while you await. Employ this era to embed, to ready, to fortify your inner existence. Peruse, acquire, deepen your belief, and nurture bonds. The labor you perform now will render your yield sweeter. He also addresses of mending. There is someone in your history who has unfinished affairs with you. The messenger proposes reaching out with modesty. Not every portal should be reopened, but where renewal is feasible and beneficial, take the initiative. Your valor to seek serenity will be rewarded. Occasionally, not by the other figure in the manner you desire, but by the purification it delivers inside you. Mending is less about altering the other and more about liberating yourself. The messenger is particular about one matter. Do not disregard your intuition. That mild, persistent prompt you dismiss as coincidence is frequently the murmur of direction. Practice heeding, calm chambers, brief strolls, modest pleas. These will refine your inner guide. When the prompt arrives, respond on it. It will maintain you from modest perils and direct you to modest wonders. There is also a summons to generosity. Graces arriving for you are frequently linked to generosity. You display not as a transactional regulation, but because offering softens your core and parts conduits. Offer a modest duration, a modest gentleness, a small segment of what you possess. You will discover that offering does not reduce you, it expands you. The messenger states, "Offer with delight and offer shrewdly." The smallest deeds of attention can convert into the largest yields. A tangible term. Organize a modest portion of your existence this week that you have been disregarding. It could be your workstation, your electronic mail, a record, a storage. Order in the modest arenas generates order in the vast ones. When you purify an edge of your existence, you generate area for lucidity and sacred directions to arrive through. The messenger adores order because it welcomes unveiling. Comment 444 below to fine-tune your intuition. Archangel Michael is gently urging you to release the grip of comparison, that subtle thief which quietly erodes the foundations of inner peace by drawing your gaze away from your own sacred journey toward the seemingly polished paths of others, fostering a cycle of envy that dims your unique light. Comparison plunders your serenity like a silent intruder in the night, stripping away the quiet joys of the present moment and leaving behind a hollow echo of dissatisfaction that echoes through your thoughts long after the trigger has faded. It pilfers your concentration, diverting the sharp focus you need for your own growth into fruitless analysis of lives that, upon closer inspection, carry their own unseen burdens and unpolished edges, robbing you of the mental clarity required to pursue your true calling with unwavering intent. Your schedule woven with the deliberate threads of divine timing and personal lessons is uniquely yours. A bespoke map crafted by the architect of souls, not a replica to be measured against the timelines of friends, colleagues, or fleeting social glimpses that often mask deeper struggles behind curated facades. Honor others' milestones with genuine celebration, allowing their successes to spark inspiration rather than resentment. But maintain your sights firmly on your own route, that winding trail marked by signposts of resilience, quiet victories, and the subtle whispers of progress that only you can fully appreciate in their profound intimacy. When you cease contrasting, you liberate a wellspring of vigor that once lay trapped in cycles of self-doubt, channeling that freed energy into pursuits that resonate with your authentic essence. Like a river unbound from dams rushing toward fertile deltas of creativity and fulfillment. Generate what solely you can generate. Those singular expressions of talent, insight, and passion, be it a poem born from midnight musings, an innovative solution to a lingering problem, or a compassionate act tailored to a specific need that bear the unmistakable imprint of your soul's blueprint. Contributions the world craves, but could never replicate from another. Your uniqueness is not an accident or a flaw to be overlooked. It is the very cornerstone of the divine scheme. A deliberate mosaic piece fitted precisely into the grand puzzle of creation, where your quirks, scars, and sparks of genius interlock with others to form a masterpiece of collective harmony. He is also tender about your letdowns, approaching them not as permanent verdicts etched in stone, but as transient teachers wrapped in the soft veil of empathy, acknowledging the raw ache they leave while illuminating the hidden gifts they carry for those willing to unpack them with gentle hands. The messenger states, "Treat your letdowns like climate, those passing fronts of storm and sun that sweep across the sky, temporary in their intensity, alterable by the winds of time and choice, and instructive in their patterns, revealing lessons about resilience, redirection, and the beauty of impermanence that shapes landscapes without defining their essence. Acquire what you require to acquire from them, sifting through the debris of dashed expectations like an archaeologist unearthing artifacts of wisdom, extracting insights on boundaries, self-worth, or unheeded intuitions that propel you toward wiser navigations in future seasons. Then permit them to elapse, releasing their hold with a conscious exhale that invites fresh air into the cleared spaces, transforming what once felt like anchors into feathers that float away on the breeze of forgiveness and forward motion. There is a quiet endurance being constructed in you through these very trials, layer by layer, like the rings of an ancient tree, marking seasons of growth. A deep-rooted fortitude that will assist you for years to arrive, equipping you to face tempests with the steady poise of one who has danced with rain before. Anguish can hone your edges, sharpening empathy from personal cuts and forging compassion from the forge of your own fires. But it should not shape your core identity, lest it cast you in a mold of victimhood that overshadows the radiant protagonist heaven scripted you to be. Permit your narrative to be one of ascending, a spiral staircase climbing toward light-filled vistas, where each setback serves as a rung, not a roadblock, lifting you higher with every determined step and revealing panoramic views of purpose that redeem every shadowed valley below. Archangel Michael delivers a particular deed for you to take in the next 5 minutes. A simple yet sacred ritual designed to bridge the gap between intention and manifestation, anchoring your spirit in the momentum of divine partnership. Right now, ascend if you can, rising from your seat or space with the deliberate slowness of one awakening to possibility, feeling the earth's support beneath your feet as a reminder of grounded strength amid ethereal calls. Position your palm over your core, that vital center where heartbeat meets hope, allowing the warmth of your touch to echo the comforting hand of heaven itself, syncing your pulse with the rhythm of restoration. State vocally, "I embrace this term," welcoming its seeds into the soil of my soul with open curiosity and quiet expectation. I select vitality, choosing the vibrant flow of life over stagnation's quiet drain, affirming my right to thrive in every breath and bold pursuit. I unlock to the positive that is approaching, flinging wide the gates of my being to receive streams of favor, whether they arrive as whispers of insight, surges of opportunity, or gentle confirmations that affirm my path's unfolding. State it with conviction, letting the words resonate from diaphragm to destiny, vibrating through your vocal cords like a tuning fork, aligning your frequency to heaven's song, banishing dissonance with declarative power. Permit your tone to shatter whatever calm dread has been maintaining you back. Those insidious tendrils of hesitation that coil around decisions and dreams, fracturing their hold with the resonant force of spoken faith that echoes into unseen realms. The modest deed of voicing separates the feasible from the probable, drawing a luminous line in the sand where potential blooms into reality, transforming abstract yearnings into tangible trajectories guided by grace. After you state it, jot 3 modest matters you will perform in the next 7 days that advance toward the alteration you desire, committing them to paper as sacred contracts with your higher self and the divine. Each one a stepping stone etched with purpose, one tangible, a ring to reconnect with a forgotten contact, an electronic mail outlining a bold idea, a charge scheme to reclaim financial footing, grounding your vision in the concrete world of action and accountability. One emotional, a dialogue that mends a frayed thread, a pardon extended to release old grudges, a limit drawn to safeguard your sacred energy, nurturing the heart's tender garden with waters of vulnerability and valor. And one ethereal, a plea custom woven into dawn's first light, a brief abstinence from distractions to heighten spiritual acuity, or a calm duration in nature's cathedral where silence speaks volumes, attuning your soul to the symphony of the unseen. These are not burdensome requests, heavy yokes imposed to test your endurance, but welcoming invitations extended with the elegance of a host at an open feast, beckoning you to partake in the banquet of alignment, where your will dances in harmony with heaven's grand design. They are gentle prompts to sync your will with what the divine spheres are already performing, subtle adjustments that harmonize your human efforts with cosmic currents, amplifying small seeds into forests of fulfillment through cooperative grace. The messenger reminds you, you are not solitary in this odyssey of transformation, adrift on isolated seas, but companioned by a fleet of celestial voyagers charting courses through your storms. Watchmen encircle you like vigilant stars in a midnight vigil, their luminous gazes piercing veils of vulnerability to ward off shadows before they take form, ensuring no foe slips through the perimeter of your peace. Allies are being assigned around you with precision timing, earthly emissaries drawn from unexpected quarters, mentors in disguise, friends rediscovered, strangers turned confidants, each one a thread in the emerging tapestry of support that weaves security into solitude. And a superior narrative is forming, not as a distant dream, but as an unfolding script where plot twists resolve into profound poetry, recasting your chapters from mere survival to symphonic sovereignty. Do not relinquish a minute prior to the wonder, clinging to the edge of breakthrough with the tenacity of dawn refusing night's final grasp. For surrender in the shadow hour often precedes the sunrise of solution. Your tolerance is part of your might, a forged alloy of patience and persistence that tempers the blade of your spirit, turning waiting into worship and delay into depth that enriches every eventual arrival. Maintain belief, vibrant with modest deeds of valor and consistent optimism. Those daily flickers of courage like a whispered affirmation at dawn or a grateful nod at dusk that fan embers into enduring flames, illuminating the path when vision blurs and sustaining momentum through the mundane. A concluding vow from Archangel Michael seals this sacred exchange with the weight of celestial authority. A binding oath forged in the fires of eternal fidelity that echoes across realms to affirm your place in the divine economy. What has been postponed, lingering like a letter undelivered in the halls of heaven, will not be refused eternally, for no promise penned in the ledger of grace is ever consigned to oblivion's archive. Something positive is nearer than it appears, hovering just beyond the horizon of your current sight, a benevolent surprise camouflaged in the ordinary folds of tomorrow's dawn, ready to unveil itself when your readiness ripens. The forthcoming days will deliver verifications, tangible tokens that bridge faith and fact. A note bearing long-awaited words, a session that sparks synergy, a motion in circumstances that whispers, yes, this is for you, confirming the quiet convictions stirring in your depths. Stride into it with gratefulness and firmness, a balanced gait where thankful reflection fuels resolute steps, allowing joy to propel without haste, scattering your poise. Honor modest triumphs, those understated victories like a resolved tension or a kind exchange, elevating them as altars of acknowledgement that invite abundance's cascade. Maintain your essence yielding, supple as spring soil receptive to rain, your limits clear as crystalline boundaries that safeguard without isolating, and your palms prepared to embrace. Open vessels awaiting the pour of Providence's cup. Now, in these final instants of the 5-minute pain, a fleeting yet freighted window framed by urgency and grace. Permit your core to concur with the divine spheres, forging an alliance where human heartbeat harmonizes with heavenly host in symphonic surrender. Inhale profoundly, 3 instances, each breath a deliberate draw from the well of wonder, expanding your capacity for the influx of light and life. As you inhale, envision embracing radiance, golden streams cascading into your being like sunlight piercing canopy, filling voids with vibrancy and veins with vitality. As you exhale, envision discharging uncertainty, exhaling wisps of worry that dissipate like morning mist under noon's advance, creating space for certainty's solid ground. State this final plea vocally with belief, letting the syllables soar as arrows of affirmation loosed toward the throne, carrying your consent into the courts of the King. I accept the positive, claiming it not as distant dream, but imminent inheritance. A feast already spread where I take my seat with airs of hope. I stride into it with valor, clad in the armor of audacity forged from past proofs of provision, advancing not in arrogance, but in the quiet confidence of one backed by battalions unseen. I am defended, directed, and cherished, enveloped in a trinity of care that wards, guides, and adores with equal fervor, a sacred triad that transforms isolation into indwelling glory. Seal it with a modest amen, that ancient word of finality and faith, a sonic signature that stamps your spirit with heaven's approval, echoing through ether as a done deal in the divine docket. Proceed ahead with assurance, that poised progression where steps sync with serendipity, carrying the carriage of one crowned in covenant rather than burdened by circumstance. Archangel Michael positions beside you, blade of fact in palm, a gleaming edge honed for precision, not to fell you down in judgment's stroke, but to slice through the falsehoods that obscure your tomorrow, severing veils of vaporous lies to reveal vistas of verified victory. Anticipate a modest but certain wonder, a humble harbinger like a key turning in a long-locked door or a seed cracking soil, pregnant with promise that proliferates in quiet potency. And when it arrives, offer thanks loudly, a resonant roar of recognition that reverberates realms, amplifying the miracle through acoustics of awe and drawing doves of deeper delight. Your existence is altering, not in cataclysmic crash, but in kaleidoscopic reconfiguration, where fragments of former flux realign into frescoes of flourishing. You are being directed into an era of favor, a golden epoch where benevolence bends branches low with fruit, anointing your avenues with unmerited yet unmistakable munificence. Unlock your palms to embrace it, unfurling fingers from clenched caution to cupped communion, ready receptacles for rivers of riches in realms relational, resources, and revelation alike. You merit it, not through merit badges of performance, but through the magnificent measure of your Maker's gaze, which deems you worthy from womb to welcome in worlds renewed. If you desire, I can persist this dispatch with further uplifts, those luminous layers of lore that layer encouragement like sunlight on seedlings. Pleas that pulse with petitions power to pierce principalities, or more particular directed strides for the next 30 days, mapping milestones with the meticulous mercy of a mentor, charting constellations. More phrases, verbal vessels brimming with balm for bruised beginnings. More pleas that partner with providence to precipitate peace. More affirmations to fortify the motion you just commenced, steeling sinews of soul against subtle setbacks. Otherwise, bear this dispatch in your pouch like a beacon, a portable luminary to light late hours or lost latitudes, its glow undimmed by distance or delay. Return to it whenever you require a prompt, a Polaris-piercing perplexity, or a psalm for parched places, reigniting resolve with remembered radiance. You were selected, hand-hewn from eternity's quarry for this exact epoch, etched with election's indelible ink amid myriads passed over. You are defended, ringed by ramparts of righteousness that repel raids of ruin, a citadel where celestial sentinels stand shift after steadfast shift. And something positive is approaching, a procession of promise parading from paradise's portals, heralded by hope's horizon and housed in humility's hands. Comment "I am ready" below to celebrate small victories. Listen. A calm descends over all, as if the realm is halting, just for you, suspending symphonies of sound in a symphony of silence tailored to your tempo, granting the gift of undivided divine dialogue. Inhale, in, drawing deeply from the diaphragm's depths the draft of deliverance. Oxygen laced with oracles that oxygenate every cell with celestial certainty. Exhale out, purging pent-up pressures in plumes of purified air, releasing residues of restraint to make way for the winds of wonder. Sense the air alter, a subtle alchemy where molecules mingle with mercy, turning the tangible into a tapestry touched by transcendence. Lighter, as burdens buoyant on billows of benevolence lift like leaves on autumn zephyrs. Milder, sweetened with the saccharine scent of seraphim's song, a nectar that nourishes nerves numbed by neglect. Like the instant prior to dawn fractures, and the foul recall how to chant, that liminal lull where night's navy yields to day's daffodil, birds breaking into Baroque ballads that broadcast the breaking of barriers. This dispatch is not common, pedestrian prose peddled to passers-by, but a bespoke billet doux from the beyond, bespoke for your biography's blank pages. It is creased into the material of now, folded with the finesse of origami into the folds of fleeting time. A missive materialized from moments mundane to mark your milestone. A murmur that became a horn when the divine spheres realized you required to heed it in plain, quivering phrases. Those unadorned utterances, unshielded by simile, raw as revelation's first rush, trembling with the authenticity of a heartbeat heard in heaven's hush. Archangel Michael positions just behind you, a colossus of compassion cradling your fragility, vast and mild at once immensity, ineffable yet intimacy incarnate. His stature spanning skies, yet his stance stooping to shoulder height. His plating gleaming not with conflict's cold clash, but with safeguards' soft sheen. Armor alight with auras of aegis that absorb assaults before they arrive. He inclines near, bridging infinities with intimacy, and states, "This is for you, forged in the furnace of foreknowledge for your fingers alone. Do not position it aside, relegating it to recesses of disregard where revelations rot. There is tidings approaching that will reorganize the form of your days, reshaping routines into rhythms of renaissance, calendars from chaos to choreography divine. Not modest tidings, trifles tossed to tide over trials, but a pivot profound, a precipice edge that becomes a stepping stone under seraphic scaffolding, transforming terror's teeter into triumph's terrace. Grasp onto that sensation in your torso that constricts when optimism wraps, a visceral vice of validation where hope's hammer strikes the anvil of anticipation, forging feelings from fleeting to foundational. That is the spot the dispatch lands initially, a landing pad predestined in your physiology, where words weave into wholeness before rippling outward. You have been bearing queries like rocks in your pouch, polished pebbles of puzzlement pocketed from paths perplexing, their collective heft hindering hikes toward horizons. That burden is about to alter, transmuted from tonnage to talisman, weights winnowed by wings of wisdom into wings of wonder. The relief that arrives will be distinct for all. Bespoke balms for bespoke bruises, a symphony of solace symphonized to your soul's specific score. For some, it will be an entrance parting, portals previously padlocked popping with providential precision, hinges humming hymns of hospitality. For others, an identity summoned, a name notated in ledgers long lost, now narrated with nobility that nestles new narratives. For others, an instrument positioned into their quivering palms, a key, a quill, a coin clutched in clasp of confirmation, catalyzing cascades of capability. Rely that it is positive, a polarity of promise pulsing with purity, untainted by ulterior undercurrents. Rely that it is yours, deeded in divinity's docket, destined from dawn's design for your dominion, right now, for the next 5 minutes. The cosmos inclines toward you, galaxies tilting in tribute, stars scripting sonnets in your sky. Aged bonds that bound thought and choice are loosening, fetters fraying from freedom's forge, liberating limbs for leaps unencumbered. Figures who were misplaced to you are locating their route back, not by fortune's fickle finger, but by coordination's cosmic calculus. Alignments authored in archives angelic. Prospects you deemed had elapsed are being rewoven into your route. Threads tardy tugged from time's tangle to tapestry your trail anew, resurrecting roads once relegated to regret. A dialogue is about to occur, or a note will arrive, or a realization will occur in the calm between two heartbeats. interstitial instance where infinity intersects intimacy, birthing breakthroughs from breath's brief bridge. This is not superstition, spectral sleight or shadowy sorcery spun from superstition's spool, but the precise, delicate altering of causes coordinating for your advantage, a choreography of causality calibrated by the conductor of constellations. Archangel Michael is not shouting in fury, a tempest of tantrum-tearing tranquility, but summoning in triumph, a clarion call cascading with conquest's cadence, victory voiced in velvet timbre. He states a positive tidings for you, proclamation pure as pearl, pitched to pierce the pandemonium of your present. Heed him, stated again milder now. A murmur modulated to melody, softened for the sensitive spaces where skepticism slumbers. So the portion of you that doubts can also grasp the beat, that rhythmic reassurance resonating through ribs, recalibrating reservations to reception. A positive tidings for you. Mantra minted in mercy, mirrored in marrow to mend the fractures of former faith. Permit that phrase to land in your frame, alighting like autumn leaves on fertile floor, layering loam with legacy. Permit it to loosen what has been rigid, rigor mortis of reluctance relinquished, joints jolted to joy's jamboree. Amen.